There is someone reading this right now who almost didn't. You almost scrolled past, almost closed your eyes, almost turned away because you have trained yourself to believe that nothing beautiful is ever really meant for you. But something in you paused, something deeper than habit, deeper than curiosity, something ancient and knowing inside your chest whispered, "Wait," and you listened. That pause was not an accident. That hesitation, that fraction of a second where your thumb hovered and your breath caught and you thought maybe, just maybe, that was the most important decision you have made in a very long time. And before you finish reading what is written here, you will understand exactly why. I need to speak to you as though we are sitting together in a room where no one else can hear, because what I am about to say is not for everyone. It is for the one who has been carrying something so heavy for so long that they have forgotten what it feels like to stand up straight. It is for the person who smiles in the morning and unravels at night, who answers, "I'm fine," so convincingly that no one ever thinks to ask twice. It is for the soul who has prayed prayers that seem to hit the ceiling and fall back down like dust, who has whispered into the darkness and heard only the echo of their own desperate voice. If that is you, and something deep inside you already knows it is, then I need you to understand that this moment, this exact moment, was placed in your path with surgical precision by a love so vast it knows the number of tears you have cried when no one was watching. You have been through something that you have never fully told anyone about. Not all of it. You have shared pieces, maybe, carefully edited versions that leave out the parts that make your voice crack and your hands shake. You have carried a version of your story that is heavier than the story itself because it includes the weight of hiding it, the exhaustion of pretending it didn't reshape everything inside you. And I want you to know, not hope, not wish, but know with absolute certainty that the one who formed you in secret, who stitched your being together with threads of light before you ever drew breath, was present in every moment you thought you were completely alone. Every single one. The night you sat on the floor and wondered if anyone would even notice your absence. The morning you woke up and felt the weight of existence pressing down on your chest before you even opened your eyes. The afternoon you drove past your exit on purpose because you were not ready to go home to the emptiness. Every moment. Witnessed. Held. Counted as precious. Let me tell you something about yourself that you have been afraid to believe. You are not broken in the way you think you are. I know that sounds like something people say, like words printed on a card or painted on a wall in a waiting room. But I need you to hear it from a place deeper than sentiment. The cracks you see when you look at your life, the fractures you trace with your fingers in the dark, those are not signs of failure. They are the marks left by a soul that refused to stop living, even when living felt like punishment. Every scar you carry, visible or invisible, is evidence of a battle you survived. And survival? When the whole world was pressing against your chest, and every voice in your head was telling you to quit, is not a small thing. It is a holy thing. It is the kind of courage that heaven records in gold and the angels speak of with reverence when they mention your name, and yes, they mention your name, more often than you could possibly imagine. You've been asking a question, haven't you? Maybe not out loud, maybe not in words you could even form into a proper sentence, but somewhere in the marrow of who you are, there has been a question pulsing like a second heartbeat. Does any of this matter? Does my pain have a point? Is there something on the other side of all this? Or am I just enduring for the sake of enduring, surviving for no reason beyond the mechanical stubbornness of my own lungs? I hear that question. And more importantly, the one who set the stars in their courses and calls each one by name, who holds the oceans in the hollow of a hand that also holds you, that one hears it too. And the answer is not a vague maybe. The answer is not a theological abstraction wrapped in language designed to keep you at a comfortable distance from the truth. The answer is alive. It is moving, it is breathing towards you right now with the force of 1,000 dawns breaking simultaneously over a world that has been held in darkness for far too long. What you could not see, what you were never meant to see until this very moment, is that everything you have survived was not random. It was not meaningless suffering scattered across the canvas of your life by an indifferent universe playing cruel games with your hope. Every single thing you walked through was preparing something inside you that could not have been formed any other way. I know that is a hard word. I know part of you wants to push back against it, wants to ask why the preparation had to hurt so much, why the refining fire had to burn so hot. And I will not pretend to have a clean answer for that, because clean answers are usually dishonest ones. But what I can tell you with a certainty that reverberates in my spirit like a bell struck in an empty cathedral, is that there are rooms in your soul that only open with keys forged in fire. There are depths of compassion in your heart that could only have been carved by the river of your own tears. There are strengths you carry right now that you do not even recognize, because they were built so slowly, so quietly in the darkest chapters of your story, that you mistook them for mere survival when they were actually transformation. The caterpillar does not know it is becoming a butterfly. It only knows the darkness of the cocoon, the terrifying dissolution of everything it was, the feeling of being completely undone, and that is exactly where you have been. But the cocoon is splitting open. I want to tell you about what is happening right now, in this season, in this specific window of time that will never come again in your lifetime. Something is shifting. You may have already felt it, a strange restlessness that wakes you at odd hours, a sense that the ground beneath you is no longer the same ground it was 6 months ago, a feeling in your spirit, like the moment before a storm breaks and the air goes electric and impossibly still all at once. That is not anxiety. That is not your mind playing tricks on you. That is not the result of too much caffeine or too little sleep. That is the unmistakable tremor of something enormous about to move on your behalf. The things that have been locked are unlocking. The doors that would not budge no matter how hard you pushed, no matter how many times you threw your full weight against them until your shoulders were bruised and your hope was bleeding, those doors are beginning to swing open from the other side, pushed by hands far stronger than yours, hands that have been waiting patiently and deliberately for exactly this moment to act. The timing was never about punishment. It was about precision. A surgeon does not rush. An architect does not skip steps. And the one who's building your next chapter has been drafting blueprints with a scope so massive that your human eyes could not have comprehended them in the middle of your pain. But now, right now, you are being elevated to a vantage point where you will begin to see the design. Not all at once, because the fullness of it would overwhelm you, but piece by piece, revelation by revelation, until the picture becomes so clear that you will fall to your knees, not in defeat, but in awe. You need to hear this next part with everything you have, so quiet the noise for a moment. Silence the doubt. Push aside the cynicism that life has understandably taught you to wear like armor. And listen, the delay was not denial. I know it felt like it. God knows it felt like it. There were nights when the silence of heaven felt like rejection, when unanswered prayers felt like proof that you had been forgotten, or worse, that you were being deliberately passed over, while everyone around you seemed to receive their miracle so easily, so effortlessly, as if the universe simply liked them more. But silence is not absence. A seed buried in dark soil does not experience the sun, cannot see the rain soaking through the earth above it, has no evidence that spring exists, has no reason to believe that anything is happening at all, and yet everything is happening. Everything. Roots are splitting open, molecules are rearranging. Life is pressing outward with a force that can crack concrete. The very chemistry of transformation is at work in the hidden places, and the fact that it is hidden does not make it any less real. It makes it more sacred. Your life has been in a season of underground growth, and I know how maddening it is to be told to trust the process when you cannot see a single green shoot breaking the surface, when everyone else seems to be blooming and you are still buried. But what I am telling you now, with prophetic clarity that burns in my chest like a coal from the altar, is that the surface is about to crack. The first shoot is about to emerge. And when it does, it will come with such sudden and undeniable force that every person who counted you out, every voice that told you it was too late, every fear that whispered you would never recover from what happened, all of it will fall silent in the presence of what God is about to reveal through your life. There is something else I must address, and I need you to receive it with openness, even though it might sting before it heals. You have been holding on to a version of yourself that no longer fits, like clothes from a former life. You have been wearing the identity of your wounds like a second skin, and it has become so familiar that the thought of removing it terrifies you. Because who are you without your pain? Who are you if you are not the one who was left, the one who was betrayed, the one who was overlooked, the one who had to fight for every scrap of love and every crumb of recognition? I will tell you who you are. You are the one who was chosen before the foundation of the world. Not chosen because you performed well enough or believed hard enough or got all the answers right on some cosmic exam. Chosen Because something in the heart of the divine looked at you, with all your mess and doubt and contradiction and 3 a.m. fears and every mistake you replay on an endless loop and said yes, said mine, said worth it, said I will move heaven and earth and time itself to bring this one home. That choosing was not conditional. It was not provisional. It was not a trial period that could be revoked based on your behavior. It was a decision made in eternity, sealed in love and ratified by blood. And nothing you have done or failed to do has changed it by a single atom. Let me tell you what is coming, because you deserve to hear it spoken over your life with authority and specificity, and the weight of a word that was not born in a human mind but delivered from a throne. Restoration is coming to the places that were destroyed. Not partial restoration, not a patched-together version of what was lost, not a consolation prize that looks almost like the real thing but never quite feels right. What is coming is so complete, so abundant, so excessive in its beauty that it will make the original look like a rough draft. Relationships that were severed by betrayal or distance or death of trust will be rewoven with threads of grace so strong they cannot be broken again. Not because the people will be perfect, but because you will be different, healed enough to love without losing yourself, strong enough to set boundaries without building walls, wise enough to recognize what is sacred and guard it accordingly. Financial provision that seemed impossible, numbers that did not add up, bills that multiplied faster than your ability to meet them. Provision is being redirected toward you right now, through channels you cannot currently see. It will arrive not as a trickle that barely keeps you alive, but as a flood that takes your breath away. Not as just enough, but as more than enough, as overflowing, as so abundant that you will look around in stunned silence and wonder how to contain it all. And the answer is that you are not meant to contain it. You are meant to distribute it. You are becoming a river, not a reservoir. And everything flowing toward you is also flowing through you to others who need exactly what you will have to give. Health that has been deteriorating, energy that has been stolen, a body that has felt like an enemy rather than a home. I speak to every diagnosis that has hung over your head like a verdict. I speak to every symptom that has robbed your sleep and hijacked your peace. The same power that spoke matter into existence, that commanded atoms to arrange themselves into galaxies and flowers, and the impossibly complex miracle of your own beating heart, is speaking restoration into your cells, your blood, your bones, right now. No report written by human hands carries more authority than that voice, and that voice is saying healed. Purpose that deep, relentless ache to know why you are here and what you are supposed to do with this one wild and precious life that is about to come into such sharp focus that you will marvel at how you ever survived without it. You have felt like you were stumbling through fog, reaching out for something you could sense but never quite grasp, watching others walk confidently in their calling while you wondered if you even had one. The fog is lifting. What is about to become clear to you will reshape your daily existence. It will change the way you spend your mornings. It will change the words that come out of your mouth. It will change the light in your eyes, and people will notice. People who have looked right through you for years will suddenly stop and stare because something about you will be unmistakably different, and they will not be able to name what it is, but they will feel it resonating in their own chest, and it will awaken something dormant in them simply because they stood in your presence. That is the magnitude of what is being activated in you. Now, I want to ask you to do something, and I want you to understand that this is not a casual request buried at the bottom of a page. This is an invitation to participate in the very thing that is unfolding over your life in this moment. If these words have stirred something real inside you, if you have felt even a single flicker of recognition, even a momentary lifting of the weight you have been carrying for so long, then I am asking you to take 3 steps that are small in action but enormous in spiritual significance. First, subscribe to this channel not as an idle click, but as a deliberate covenant of attention, a declaration that you are choosing to position yourself in the path of words like these, words that are not entertainment but sustenance for your spirit in the season ahead. You are going to need what is coming through this space, and I say that not as a sales pitch, but as someone who knows the terrain of what lies before you and wants to make sure you are equipped for every step. Second, share this message with 11 people, 11 specific souls that the Spirit is bringing to your mind right now, even as you read this sentence. There is someone in your circle, a friend, a cousin, a coworker, a parent, someone you haven't spoken to in months who is standing on the edge of the same cliff you were standing on before these words found you. Your act of sending this to them may be the hand that reaches through their darkness and pulls them back from a ledge they have told no one about. 11 lives that could pivot because you chose to be a carrier of hope instead of keeping it to yourself. And third, if your heart leads you, only if it leads you, not out of guilt, not out of obligation, but purely from the overflow of what you are feeling right now, there is a link in the description for a cup of coffee. And I want you to know with full transparency that every single cent goes directly to feeding children who are hungry today, kids who will have a meal tonight because someone they will never meet decided that their blessing was too big to keep contained. It is entirely optional. It carries zero weight on your standing with God. But if you feel moved, know that your generosity becomes a prayer, answered for a child who prayed for food the same way you prayed for hope. And both prayers are being answered in this very hour. But hear me with total clarity. Whether you do all three or none, what God is doing in your life does not depend on a click or a share or a donation. It depends on Him. And He does not begin things. He does not finish. He is not a man that He should lie. And what has been declared over your life is as certain as the sunrise. I want to speak now to the part of you that is still afraid, the part that has been burned so many times by hope that hope itself has become the enemy. Like picking up a knife by the blade, like walking onto a frozen lake and listening for cracks with every step. I understand that fear. It is perhaps the most rational response in the world when disappointment has been the most faithful companion of your adult life. When every time you dared to believe something good was coming, the rug was pulled out with such violence that you hit the ground harder than before. But I am asking you to be irrational right now. I am asking you to hope in a way that defies every piece of evidence your past has presented. I am asking you to trust a promise that your five senses cannot verify, to lean your entire weight on something you cannot see, because the things that are about to unfold in your life are not coming through rational channels. They are going to arrive in ways that defy every explanation you reach for. In timing so precise it cannot be attributed to coincidence, through people and opportunities and open doors that will appear as if from thin air, and you will stand in the middle of all of it with your hands trembling and tears streaming down your face, and you will know, not think, not suspect, but know in the deepest chamber of your being that you are being held by something infinite, something that never let go of you even when you let go of it, something that was working in the darkness long before you ever saw the light. You are not reading these words by accident. I will say it one more time, because repetition is how truth breaks through walls of doubt. You are not reading these words by accident. Out of every video and every post and every notification and every distraction demanding your attention in this moment, you are here. Your eyes are on this sentence. Your heart is open in a way it has not been open in months, maybe years. That is not coincidence. That is divine coordination of the highest order. You were guided here the same way a river is guided to the sea, not by force, but by the irresistible gravity of where you were always destined to arrive. And so I speak over you now with every ounce of spiritual authority I carry, and I declare that the old season is closed. The door behind you is shut, sealed, finished. No amount of looking back will reopen it, and that is mercy, not punishment. Because what was behind that door was never meant to be your permanent address. It was a hallway, a passage, a dark and necessary corridor that carried you, sometimes dragging and sometimes crawling, to the door that now stands open before you, flooded with a light so warm it feels like coming home after a lifetime of wandering. Step through it. Step through it with tears still wet on your face if you must. Step through it on legs that shake with the effort of believing again. Step through it imperfectly, uncertainly, without a 5-year plan or a guarantee or a single answer to the 1,000 questions still swirling in your mind, because the one who opened this door does not require you to be complete before you cross the threshold. He only requires you to move. And you are moving. Right now, in this breath, you are already moving. The person who began reading this and the person who is finishing it are not the same. Something has been rearranged in the unseen architecture of your life, and it is filtering into your visible reality, like the first light of dawn, faint at first, then undeniable, then blazing. Watch for it in the coming days. Watch for the unexpected message that carries words you had given up hoping to hear. Watch for the door that opens without you even knocking. Watch for the stranger who looks you in the eye and says something that drops into your spirit, like a key into a lock. Watch for the dream that startles you awake, with a clarity so sharp it feels more real than waking life. These are your signs. These are your confirmations. They are already in motion, already en route, already bearing your name. You are loved. Not in the abstract, not as a concept, not in the way that applies to 7 billion people and therefore feels like it applies to no one in particular. You are loved specifically, singularly, with a love that knows your name and your hidden name and the name you call yourself at your very worst. You are loved by a God who is not ashamed of your doubts, not exhausted by your questions, not standing at a distance with arms crossed, waiting for you to get it together before he will come close. He is already close. He has always been close. And that love, that reckless, relentless, unreasonable, death-defying love, is the bedrock upon which everything in your future is being constructed. It will not shift. It will not crack. It will not betray you the way the world has betrayed you. It is the one unshakable thing in a universe of uncertainty, and it is yours. It has always been yours. And now, finally, beautifully, with trembling hands and a heart cracked wide open, you are ready to receive it. So receive it. Breathe it in like your lungs have been starving for it, because they have. Let it fill the hollow places. Let it mend the shattered places. Let it flood the rooms you locked shut years ago, because the memories inside were too painful to revisit. Let it reach every corner, every wound, every lie you believed about your own worth. And then rise, beloved. Rise with the quiet, unshakable certainty of someone who has been to the bottom and discovered that even there, even in the deepest pit, there was a hand reaching down that never stopped reaching. Rise into everything that has been prepared for you since before time had a name, knowing that you are held, you are seen, you are chosen, you are wanted, and you are loved with a love that will never, ever, ever let you go.